you. First, to set the stage, we are talking about the proposed budget and the impact of public safety. The City of Jacksonville budget for 2011 and 12, almost $958 million. Mayor Alvin Brown submitted his proposal Monday to City Council. It calls for $945 million in spending. That's the smallest budget in 4 years. But joining us to talk about the impact specifically on public safety, Sheriff John Rutherford, appreciate you being here, and the president of the FOP, Nelson Cuba. I invited Mayor Brown to join us. He wasn't able to today, but let's talk through this issue. Sheriff, I know, even more than a week ago, you were saying, hey, we've got some cuts and it's going to mean loss of jobs. Where do we stand now? Because this week you were saying even more, $6.1 million more that you were going to have to cut.
Well, let me kind of work you through the chronology of this budget and how this all happened. The mayor's folks, Ronnie Belton, Glenn Hansen, they came to the office and said, look, we need $15 million. If you can get 11, we think that'll be pretty good.
What time of year did they do that?
This was back in probably June, maybe.
Oh, okay.
May or June.
All right.
So we went through.
Or was that?
No, that was expected.
Okay.
That was expected. And we went through and we found some operational cuts that we could make and some savings that we were going to realize and some additional revenue of $1.5 million from the red lights. And with all of that, we came up to 11. Of course, then the new actuarial came out on the pension, and they're like, no, we need you to go to 22.
Let me just explain briefly. Actuarial on the pension comes out, and that determines exactly how much has to go into the city's contribution to the pension fund. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct. And the city contribution went up $46 million. The portion in my budget went up almost $26 million.
Okay.
So they asked me for $22 million.
Was that unexpected? I should ask that. Did you know that was coming?
We really didn't think it was going to go that high.
Right.
In fact, the earlier savings had been predicated upon a 69% pension cost, and it jumped to 82.
Okay.
So yeah, it was
so
much more than anybody anticipated. So we went back, and I said, okay, look, now you're talking about cuts that are going to impact gravely on public safety. I'm going to have to eliminate the entire community service officer program and not work traffic crashes on state roads, which is a benefit that we have provided to our constituents over and above the responsibility of FHP. Florida Highway Patrol is responsible for crashes on state roads in our county.
I do want to talk about that maybe in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, you said
so that was one cut. So that was one piece. Right. And I said that's going to hurt people when they have to wait for FHP to handle these traffic crashes. On our state roads in Duval County, we have 8,000 crashes on state roads. Right now, FHP only handles 2,500 of them. When the CSOs go away, they will have to pick up about somewhere around 5,000 of those. So it will double their workload in Duval County. But that is FHP's responsibility. We've been doing that in assisting them, but it's truly Florida Highway Patrol's responsibility to work crashes on state roads. There's many counties where they don't work them and haven't for many years. So that's the first issue. Second issue was I still couldn't get to the 22 with just cutting CSOs. I also had to close one of our jails. It also happens to be the jail, 300-bed facility that houses a 135-bed drug treatment program, one of the best in the country.
We talked about that the last time you were on the show.
Exactly. It's an amazing program.
You feel it's been.
Exactly. In fact, I even gave the mayor's office the recidivism results from that program, showing how it saves lives and dollars and prevents crime. But they had to have those. They said, we have to have the cuts. So I said, okay, well, this is what it's going to cost in services to the community. Now, I said, I'm opposed to these cuts. I'll tell you right now, I'm opposed to it. I don't think we should cut the CSOs. I don't think we should close CTC. Now, the other roughly $10 million that we'd already cut, we're good with that. $11 million, we're good with that. We're still going to make that cut. But what I would like you to do, Mr. Mayor, is ask people to pay this year exactly what they paid last year in ad valorem property taxes. Pay the same amount. If you paid $1,000 last year, pay $1,000 this year. That's all I ask, because that would give us it would actually give the county about 22 to 24 million, and I only need 10 million to keep the CSO program and the CTC program up and running.
Is this what was construed earlier on as you calling for a tax increase?
Yes. Yes, that's what they call a tax increase. My position is people pay taxes in money. If you're paying the same money, you're not paying a higher. If you pay the same last year, or you pay the same this year that you paid last year, is that a tax increase?
Right, I see what you're saying.
You're paying the same. So that's what I'm asking. Then we have a $364 million budget that we all agreed to on July 10th. That's in the documents that I sent to you. You can see the $364 million budget. I even had the council president over and went through our budget, the 360, to explain to him what the 364 budget was going to mean. Laying off CSOs, doing all these other things, if we didn't use the rollback rate and ask people to pay the same this year that they paid last year. Then the budget's presented, and we didn't get it before anybody else. Well, actually, we got it after everybody else. We got it after the council and after the media. We go through it and find an additional $6.1 million has been cut. My final presented budget is $358 million. The one that we had agreed to was $364. So now I'm forced to go back and find another $6.1. Well,
that has to be frustrating.
It's very frustrating, especially when you've already made all these other cuts. So then we go back to the drawing board. Okay, how can we help the city plug this $6 million hole?
Right.
And I said, well, look, we are saving this much this year. We're going to be able to save as a result of the FOP concessions and taking the officers taking the 3% cut in pay, which over a 3-year period I think is about $20 million in savings to the community. Now, in this budget cycle, though, they only funded us at 98%. So I didn't get the benefit of the whole 3%. I only got 1% of that.
Okay.
Of that cut.
I'm trying to track with you.
I know it's difficult.
Out here go, where are we talking about?
Okay, but here's bottom line. After we even make up $173,000 in revenue that we're short this year, in generating revenue from tickets and that sort of thing, we're going to realize right around an $8.8 million surplus this year. I've already tried to introduce legislation to give some of that savings back to the city, but give me credit for it.
Right. So it doesn't go to the general fund, so it goes to your department.
Exactly.
Right.
And what I'm asking the council to do in this legislation that I've now redrafted with the $6.1 million, I'm asking the council president and the council to simply give me $6.1 million of the $8.8 million that we've already saved.
I see what you're saying.
Give me that $6.1 million, and I don't have to lay off any more police officers.
Sheriff?
Without that, Kent, and I'm almost done.
Okay.
Without that, we're now looking at laying off an additional 114 cutting 114 police positions, 95 of which are currently staffed.
Right. I'm sure that's something that this gentleman to your right wants to address as well. So stay with us. We're going to be right back. More talk with Sheriff Rutherford. And we're going to bring in Nelson Cuba, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police. Stay with us. We're right back on This Week in Jacksonville.